Welcome to the Queen City Music Podcast, the podcast devoted to the local music scene in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, here's your host, Matthew Ablin.
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Queen City Music Podcast. This month, I've got the rock power trio Irrashional in the studio with me. The group comprises Peyton Velligan on bass, keys, and lead vocals, Patrick Dukes on guitar and backing vocals, and Christian Sturt on drums. Irrational are an extremely talented group of young players who have carved out a place as one of Charlotte's top classic rock live acts. But don't let that moniker fool you. The band is not content to simply perform covers. Irrational released their second EP of original material in the summer of 2019. Okay, I've got Irrational here. I've got Patrick, Christian, and Peyton. How are you guys all doing today?
Great, thank you.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you guys on the podcast. I'm kind of a fan. I've been listening to some of your stuff online as of late and digging it. So
thank you.
Thank you.
We're stoked. We're stoked to be here.
You guys ready to roll?
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's go.
So who wants to start first? Who wants to answer some questions?
Ooh, I'm down.
All right. So Christian, are you from the Charlotte area?
Yes, I am from Charlotte.
Born and raised?
Born and raised. My parents are. My mom's from Peru.
Oh, wow.
That's where I get my tan skin from. People always ask me, they're like, are you Native American? And I'm like, nope, I'm Peruvian. My mom's from South America, and my dad's from Jersey.
Oh, wow.
So, weird mix, but yeah.
Peyton, how about you?
Yeah, I'm also from the Charlotte area. Born and raised here, but the same thing. My parents are from the Midwest. They're from Indiana.
Wow.
So I'm glad they moved to Charlotte because I would not want to live in the Midwest.
It's a little cold, isn't it?
It's freezing. But no, yeah, born and raised.
And Patrick, how about you?
Yes, I was born in Charlotte. I live in the Huntersville area. And my dad's, he's from down south, but my mom's from up north.
All right, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You are probably the first set of three people in the same room I've ever had who are from Charlotte. Normally, everybody is a transplant from somewhere.
Yeah.
To get three people who are from Charlotte in the same room is an oddity. So
We're making history.
True locals.
all right, so you guys are all different instrument players. So Patrick's on guitar, Christian's on drums, and Peyton is on bass and vocals as well. And Patrick, you also do background vocals, or do you do lead vocals too?
I do mostly background vocals.
Okay. So Peyton, what got you into music? What's your background?
I've played music for a long time. I started out playing the piano when I was, I think, 5 or 6. I started taking lessons, like most kids. Their mom signed them up for piano lessons. And I just kind of went with it for a while. I didn't really have a true passion for it or anything. I just kind of stuck with it because I liked it. And then later when I discovered, classic rock and I got into that kind of music, I wanted to pick up the guitar and start singing a little bit more. And that just kind of evolved over time as I got older. But I've played for a long time and taken a lot of lessons.
How'd you get into bass, just out of curiosity? Because, I mean, most people, if they're getting into a stringed instrument, if it's not classical bass and they're getting into rock, it's the first usually go-to might be a guitar. What drew you to bass?
Yeah, so it was kind of an interesting situation. So Irrational used to be a 4-piece band.
Okay.
When we started, we were 14 and 15 years old in high school. And I was just the lead singer. We had another bass player who was actually Christian's brother, Junior. And he was a year older than us. So he graduated a year before we did. And he went to college up in New York. And so he moved away. And we obviously needed to fill the bass player position, and we ended up just deciding to stick with the three of us, and that I would pick up bass because I did play guitar already, and I was like, okay, well, it's 2 less strings. It's got to be, a little easier. It's got to be
easy. Yeah. That's what everybody says, right?
It's like I quickly found out it's not the case, but it definitely was really fun, and we took last summer, and I picked up the bass, and it's been a blast so far. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Christian, how about you?
All right, so I was originally on piano. I did a year of classical piano.
Wow. Okay.
And hated it. So then my dad was like, "Here." We kind of jammed a lot when we were younger. My brother also played piano. My dad was on bass and guitar, and so they needed a drummer. Yeah. And so pretty much it was I was 7 and it was Christmas, and they bought me my first electric drum set. And I don't know, just from there, he introduced me to classic rock, and I fell in love with like Neil Peart and John Bonham.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of just went from there, just jamming in the basement, and then I found these guys.
Nice. So do you just do drum set? Do you do hand drums? Do you do any other percussion, or is it just strictly set?
Yeah, when I got into middle school, Patrick and I
that's
joined
actually
the percussion
how we
line.
met.
Yeah, that's how Patrick and I met. We went to Lake Norman Charter, and in 5th grade, we auditioned for the percussion group and got in. And so we ended up doing that, and then we did marching band and kind of progressed through everything. So, yeah, not just drums, it's all of drums, all of percussion.
Very cool. Well, if you got that Neil Peart inspiration, he definitely does all that too. So
Yeah, you'll see soon. I'm going to get...
You got to have a gong in the back?
Oh, yeah. Get some wood blocks.
Electric kit. We're going to start looping around like Neil does. Awesome. Hey, Patrick, how about you? How'd you get into guitar playing?
Well, actually, now that I think about it, I did start on piano, but it was like I was 6 years old, and I didn't give a rip about music. And my dad was like, here's this book, A to Z Piano. And I was like, not about to read music or anything like that. But about 2 years later, Guitar Hero came out. Okay. And that was my jam. And so I would just play Guitar Hero for hours on end. And my dad was like, well, why don't we get you a real guitar and see what you can do on that?
It's a little different, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very different.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't know. The music in Guitar Hero is like super like classic rock inspired with all the shredding guitar solos and stuff like that. So it was really easy to pick up the guitar and really want to actually replicate that for real. So I played Smoke on the Water for a week.
Awesome.
It actually would have been spring break, I guess 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So 11 years ago this week.
Wow.
I started playing guitar.
Fantastic.
Guitar anniversary.
Yeah, for real. And from there, I don't know, I kept playing. My dad put me in lessons. And I practiced a little bit, but wasn't super psyched on it until I got a Les Paul. And then from there, the trajectory just went straight up.
Well, you know what? I'm a little jealous because I didn't get a Les Paul, and I won't even say what age I was at when I got my first Les Paul, but I wanted to drop the money on it. I did have an SG, though, when I was 18, man. I still have it. It's a 74, so I'm proud to have it. All right, so I'm curious. We're just talking about getting into music, and you usually have an age that I find most musicians click when they get into it. What age was that for you, Patrick?
So I started playing at age 8, but I didn't.
When you got really bit by the bug,
maybe 11 or 12.
Christian?
Yeah, I started when I was 7, and it was probably, I think I was 11 years old when I like really became invested into learning certain parts.
Peyton?
Yeah, I would say 13 is when I was like, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. So I was a little behind, I guess. I don't know what I was doing when I was 11. I was still on the rock band, I guess. I didn't make that jump yet.
It's really strange because the more musicians I talk to, it seems like that 11, 12, 13 is that age range where if people get bit by the bug, they are like rabid about music. If they, they continue with it. And I don't know what it is about that age. It's maybe something with our development, and getting into music and peers and getting turned on by, what's happening around us culturally where we become more aware. I don't know. All right. But so how did you guys meet? We talked about Patrick and Christian meeting at Lake Norman Charter. Peyton, did you go to Lake Norman Charter too?
No, I did not. I was homeschooled since the 4th grade.
Okay.
So I met these guys through Christian's brother. I was in another band with him at the time. I was the lead guitarist. And he joined my band, and he was like, hey, I got this project going on with these guys, my brother and this guy from school. And
he said it just like that, from school.
From school. Word. And he was like, okay, so we don't have a singer, so it's kind of like we can only play like one song. And that was YYZ by Rush. He's like,
that's a good song to know.
He's like, we're called Rash, and we play Rush. I'm like, I don't even like Rush. Oh, like the dude, like he's weird. Like, but I was like, dang, like these guys like the same music as I do, and I never met people. I didn't ever have friends who had the same musical taste as I did growing up. And so I just thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, God, it'd be so cool. I didn't sing at the time. I just played. I was scared to sing. in front of people. But I wanted to somehow get involved with the project because I was just like, they're playing Rush and Led Zeppelin and Van Halen. And I was like, I want to do that. So I was like, okay, well, they need a singer. So I auditioned. That's when I met these
and then
guys.
we put together a list of like 6 Rush songs because that was all we played at the time.
Awesome.
We were like, hey, here's 6 Rush songs.
They said,
You want to come in and try it?
audition. Tom Sawyer, Limelight, Free Will, Spirit of Radio, Subdivisions. That was my audition.
Yeah.
And The Ocean by Led Zeppelin.
wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You didn't make it easier on her, did you?
No.
No.
This was I don't know what we were thinking. But
Hey,
I
she,
remember like I
put it to
had
the test.
we're like, hey, if she
Songs
doesn't get
this way.
scared off by the list, she's probably in.
Nice.
yeah.
Hey, just because we're talking about classic rock and all this stuff, and you guys are a bit younger than me, so the question is, what is it about classic rock that got you interested? Because a lot of folks your age are into newer music, and I don't know if you are or not. Maybe you are, but what is it about classic rock? Because obviously you're in a band, your influences are a little more on your sleeve when you guys are playing on your recordings, and even your shows, it's classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're out there doing the latest, Kanye West tune. So what is it about drew you to classic rock other than more contemporary stuff?
I think it's classic rock. Excuse me. Classic rock is it's timeless music.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas opposed to a bunch of the stuff today is just you'll like it for one day and then it kind of just comes and goes. And so it was my dad especially. That's all he played. Like I didn't listen to a whole lot of modern music growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all he played was classic rock. So I kind of that's what I came accustomed to
Right.
when I would listen to music. And so it was kind of like it kind of came natural because of him. And now that we get to play it, it's like it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of true. Like I remember growing up and hearing the music, the classic rock music, and like the Beatles and stuff like that, and like that would be in my dad's car. It was like Dad's got the music,
Right.
And then it was like, oh, all this other stuff that I'm hearing on TV and stuff, that's the popular music. But I guess it was always like, no, like the CDs in Dad's car, that's the music. Like that's the real music.
That's awesome.
That's the Beach Boys and the Beatles and like all that kind of stuff. I loved it growing up. And I think there is something to be, I think there's a reason it's timeless. It's real. And the message is real.
Mm-hmm.
All these songs, they mean something, and they still mean something to people to this day. And whereas some of these songs now, they're overproduced, they're fleeting, there's nothing lasting because it's
Right.
just all about, following the formula to bust out another pop song. I feel like,
Yeah.
and these songs back in the day, like the classic rock, it's real, it's raw, it has this power to it that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go away, and there's just nothing like it. You turn it up when you're in the car or whatever, you're jamming to it, and it just makes you feel, I don't know, it makes me feel powerful. Like I'm like, you can go out and just seize the day. Like it's just that kind of music.
That's
and
awesome.
it's just meaningful, and I love it. I fell in love with it.
And
Yeah,
Patrick,
and-
it was just a video game.
Just a video game. No, I kind of like what you said there. I feel like it's more about the song today than it is really about the artist.
Right.
And part of that is like why I fell in love with classic rock is because like you get these like iconic artists like Aerosmith or Van Halen, and they have this image and
Right.
this swagger about them. And you sort of get invested in that, and you don't want to just listen to one song. You want to listen to their whole album,
Right.
and then go through their whole discography. And I don't know. I really like that about it. And I think the other thing is like everyone seeks out different things in their music. But for
Right.
me, like in classic rock, there's just like the way that the passion is, you can hear it so clearly in whether it's the singer's voice or the raunchiness of a guitar or something. It just comes across so clearly to me, at least.
All right. So how long was it after Peyton joined that you guys as a group started to go into Irrational, the actual band of the trio, and then what walk me through that? How long was that period after Peyton joined?
It was pretty immediate.
Yeah, we threw like a huge list of maybe 50 songs,
Right.
and just started knocking them out.
Yeah, it was kind of like, okay, so I joined, and this was in the summer, so we had time because we weren't in school.
Yeah.
So we got together in the basement, and I think we figured out pretty quickly that if we only play Rush songs, nobody's gonna hire us for a gig.
What?
Really? And so of course we were into other bands at the time. So we threw together a list of, Van Halen and even Toto, I think was one of the first songs we learned. And Yes, Hold On by Yes was
We
like,
spent like 4 hours learning that song.
It was great because at the time, like, we were kind of forced to play like these party songs for bars, and then we'd have like stuff like Hold On and Yes, and we throw that right in the middle.
Yeah, but we became Irrational pretty quickly. We decided to go from Rash to a little bit more than just Rush, and let's branch out a little bit. So we became Irrational, and we played as a 4-piece for a couple years. We just started playing bars and music venues and anybody who would have us, and we'd play some dance tunes and some really obscure, weird, progressive rock tunes, all mixed in together. And but people liked it. I think people weren't used to hearing that kind of stuff at a bar, and it takes them back. When we play Rush or Yes or Triumph, or they're like, I haven't heard this song, Night Ranger. I haven't heard this song in 20 years, and I love when people say that to me because it's cool. It brings them joy to be transported back to that age where that music was coming out.
I think we also it's not like we just chose to play classic rock, but we kind of thought of ourselves as the people who choose all the B-side tracks.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
yeah, it was fun.
How tough was it for you guys getting started as a band to try to go play bars or now in the sense breweries? Were you taken seriously? Because you guys were kind of young at the time when you started. So how did you approach that, and what was the barriers for you guys?
It was very, very difficult. Like Peyton said, we kind of took what we got, which in most cases was like tiny little bars or like wineries.
Yeah.
But we used that to kind of just add to or build our reputation from the ground up, and like it would take a lot of convincing to get certain venues to have us. But then once they would see our performance one time, they'd want us back immediately. So it was very difficult, like just going up to the venues and being like, yeah, we're a kid band. Let us play in your venue.
Yeah, it was like we tried to sell ourselves as, we got the professional image and everything, but in reality we were 15 and and just kind of getting started with the scene. But we were fortunate; we had a lot of support from the start. And we started playing at open mics. That was the first time we ever performed live, and we got some people there and some bar owners and stuff that saw us and really wanted to help us get started. And so we were fortunate to have that.
I'd say the Cornelius area, a little past Huntersville, was really sort of our stomping grounds where we shed our teeth, and that's when people started to notice us, and we're like, okay. They play music all right.
It doesn't hurt that you guys all sound fantastic playing your instruments. I mean, that's key. I mean, if you went up and just played Louie Louie or something like that, people might be like, okay, they're just bashing out 3-chord songs, which is most acoustic gigs these days, which I won't complain about. But all right.
No, I mean, it started out as just us just doing what we wanted to do and having fun,
right?
Which I think sometimes gets lost, and I never want it to get lost for us, because that's really how it started. Was, we didn't really care in the beginning what kind of gigs we got, or, I mean, of course we wanted to play in front of people, but it wasn't about, let's get this huge gig and play this set. It was like, no, we want to play Rush and Yes and Led Zeppelin because we love it and it's just fun, and we love getting to just shred on our instruments and just let it all out. Right. And that's how it started. And I think that was what people saw at first, was like, these kids are having fun, and it was infectious, I think, to people. And it wasn't just, we're trying to play this music because it's impressive. It was just like, no, they just love it, and that's kind of cool. And and it's really always been that way, and we've kind of always followed that, what we love and what we think is fun, and we've realized over time that if we're having fun, the people in the audience will be having fun.
Right.
Whether it's we're playing Tom Sawyer or play that funky music. It's like they're having fun if we're having fun. So that's been the mentality.
That's awesome. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't matter what type of music you play in that sense for me. If you're not feeling it or it's not coming through, the audience is going to know. And I don't think you're going to get that many gigs, period.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, this person just, telegraphs it in and they don't really worry about it. They're not into it. They just kind of show up and do their thing and then just leave.
Oh yeah. No, being genuine and true to yourself and honest and, all that is just really important as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you can try to be somebody else for a little while, but it's not going to last. And
Right.
you're not going to feel good about it. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what's inside of you and bringing that out and sharing it with people. And that's always been Irrational.
So you guys started as a cover band. You're out there playing. At what point did you start to make that turn into doing original music? I know I talked with Patrick and Christian a little bit about it before we started recording. What was that turning point for you guys?
I think we always had sort of this underlying prospect that we would eventually write songs and eventually start doing our own music. But it really wasn't until I got like a computer software, Logic Pro, and just started playing around on it and seeing what I could do. And then I was like, hey, I could turn one or two of these little ideas into a song. And I brought one to the band and we were like, hey, let's try this.
I remember we started with like a bunch of our friends at school and we'd make like really stupid songs, and, like spoofs and stuff like that with Patrick.
Oh,
and then like it was like soon after that we started recording actual music, and it was the coolest thing. It was a lot of fun.
We got some of those in the deep archives.
Never to see the light of day.
Lock them away better.
Yeah.
So what's the songwriting process like for you guys? Do y'all just get together in a room? Does Patrick come in with a riff? Peyton, do you come in with stuff? How does that work?
So far it's been kind of
everywhere.
I would say it's kind of free form. Like we don't really have a structure, but at the same time it's been kind of consistent in the fact that Patrick's written some music and then we wrote lyrics on top of it. That's pretty much been
usually there'll be like someone's got some spark for a song.
Okay.
And I'll be like, oh, sick, and I'll go into Logic and try to bust out some kind of demo for it.
Yeah.
And then we'll all take it back and go, okay, here's what we like, here's what we don't.
Yeah.
And then we'll add lyrics over top.
But it's not always, it's not always consistent with how it starts. Sometimes it's a riff. One song, A Song of the Sky, actually, which is off our newest EP, started with a drum beat that Christian sent. And that was kind of cool. And we usually write lyrics later, but we usually collaborate on those together. And
I'm not a lyricist whatsoever, but I can spark ideas, but not actually like write the.
You're not channeling your inner Neil Peart.
Conceptual.
That's conceptual, yeah.
Yeah, but we'd have fun. We'd go out and try to take some inspiration from something, nature or something, and be like, okay, how are we feeling today, and how does the music make us feel? And that's been kind of cool. I know a lot of people say, oh, we write the lyrics and then you just kind of put the music behind it.
Wow.
We were always kind of like, we get the music and we get it pretty together, and we're like, okay, how does this music make us feel?
Usually we have like a full arrangement by the time we're writing lyrics.
Yeah. Even on our last EP, Give It All to Me, which is the later in the EP, we had recorded the entire music without having any lyrics. We didn't even have a concept, really. We're like, okay, it's a happy song. Okay, so we got all the final takes of everything. We're like, we should probably get some vocals on this now.
We're about getting time to track vocals. We got to write these lyrics.
So, but it's I actually kind of like doing it that way, because it has been. It's like, what am I feeling from this riff or this song? Like, okay, it makes me feel like I'm out in the middle of a mountain, or, whatever, or just, this song sounds happy and carefree.
Right.
And then you get a concept out of that. So it's maybe a little bit backwards to some people's standards, but it works for us.
That's interesting. I mean, I just know the stuff that I've written. I'll sit down with acoustic guitar, start coming up with the chord changes. And as I'm writing, the melody's coming at the same time. I don't know. And then later on, like I'm working on my first EP now, but like the arrangement's not even there. It's like I know the chords, I have a vision in my head, but I can't imagine like having the whole track completed and then being like, all right, now we got to write lyrics.
Yeah.
So how do I guess
it is a little. It was a little constraining.
It's sort of like top lining in pop music, though, where a producer comes in with a track and they're like, "Hey, let's write this melody over top of it." But I don't know. I think a lot of like more purist songwriters tend to go for the lyrics first because that's where like the heart is.
Right.
That's what's going to resonate with people a lot. But I think we've always been really instrumentally motivated.
But honestly, like now that I think about it, I feel like maybe we do have more of a classic, like talking about classic rock and our influences. You know, maybe a lot of modern songs are lyric driven or melody driven, and then you just put the behind it, you know, and it's a song. But back then, a lot of songs were riff driven, you know, and guitar driven or whatever. And sometimes that would be, you know, I've watched interviews with, you know, Jimmy Page or whatever, and be like, oh yeah, I came in with this riff, and that's how a lot of their songs started. And they put lyrics over the top. So, you know, that's, I guess, maybe without us knowing, that's kind of how we were writing too. And because our music is riff driven music, and so that's kind of where it would always start.
So let's go back a little bit. You guys, your first EP came out. That's closer than you think. Can you guys fill me in about that? When did that come out?
That came out December 1st, 2018. I think that EP really it was more like a step in our progression of like us learning how to write songs and coming together to collaborate and actually get a project done and put something out there for everyone to hear us.
Okay.
It was a good learning
and
experience.
it was I think it did what it did really well.
It was fun.
And the songs are great too. Our sound has definitely changed, but
well, you develop as songwriters. The first song you write is not going to be the same as the 20th song. I mean,
and it's interesting. That EP, we wrote all the songs over the span of a year and a half. So it wasn't, you know, you can, and some people tell me, they're like, I can tell which one you wrote first, you know, which one you wrote last. Cause it's like, I can tell that your songwriting got tighter or whatever, but it's kind of funny. And they actually kind of go in order on the EP of the order that we wrote them in almost.
Actually, it is because
you wrote the riff for
Get Down was written first.
Yeah, and then Fallen was, you know, that was our first complete song that we had written. And you know, and people are like, I could tell you were 15 when you wrote those lyrics.
Hey.
It's like, you
most
know,
of rock lyrics are bad high school poetry.
Oh my
anyways.
God.
Exactly.
If you read half of them, they don't make any sense at all. You know?
So, you know, it was fun, and we learned a lot from it. And they are still pretty rockin' songs.
Funny enough, two of the songs we had actually recorded a version of Sweet Separation and a weird version of Wasted Land on the first EP. And then they were just, I don't know.
Yeah, that was going to be a 6-track. Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 6-track. And then, I don't know, I was recording everything. We didn't have lyrics or vocals on
Wasted Land.
It was, the recordings were a little sloppy. I was like, let's just hold these back and we'll.
And Sweet Separation, that was really like, that riff, we were like, let's save that one because that sounds different. It's different than these other ones. You know, it sounds more 70s-ish. Whereas I think Closer Than You Think has more of an 80s sound.
Yeah.
You know, it was very like Van Halen, kind of like, I think when you sent me the Fallen riff, the first thing I thought was like, it's Van Halen Rush. And it's just, you know, it has more of that 80s sound, but the Sweet Separation riff, I was like, that's 70s. That's different. That's cool. Like and I was like, that's the sound. I love that sound. And we just kind of, with that riff and all the songs we wrote after that, we kind of, you know, transitioned into more of that 70s rock, just kind of not super produced.
I also started writing all the songs on an acoustic guitar versus an electric, which I tend to focus more on like the groove of the song other than just how like which notes I want to put in it. So that definitely changed the sound of everything.
Yeah.
So you guys just had your second EP come out, Beyond. Is that's 2019, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my curiosity is, you have one EP out, you start a second one. Is there a reason that you guys came out with a second EP rather than trying to do something full? Was it you didn't have as many songs, or was it because the current trend now is a shorter album? Do you not feel that a full length album is something? I don't know, that's current. You know, I feel like people are releasing singles more and EPs. Is that something you guys think, or did you just want to get something out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a good point. That wasn't really the thought when we decided to put our EP out was, oh, people don't have the attention span for a full-length album. But I mean, I see what you're saying. It's true. I feel like that's also kind of an art like form that's been kind of lost, is people listening to a whole record front and back. But
I think it was more so that we had realized our sound had changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of wanted to reestablish that as like the new baseline. Like
it
this is kind of where we're heading.
Like we had a few songs that we had half written, and it wasn't enough for a full length album. We said, oh, this is enough to do an EP. And we really did want to get that new sound out there and say, look, this is Irrational. Like, we feel really good about this sound. This is us. And we wanted to kind of reintroduce ourselves to the listeners and the audience in that way. So we did kind of hop on to make the next EP and kind of hop on that and get that going. And we wanted to release it as soon as we could.
Funny enough, we started recording it December 2018. So we released Closer Than You Think, and then we tracked all the drums for the next EP.
Beyond, yeah. We said we're ready to move on.
Did we track that? Did we track in December?
Yeah, we
did.
tracked in December. I think we
Christmas
finished
break.
off the drums in like January, February.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then we released it in July, so it took a little while. But that was right in the midst of college applications and auditions and everything.
Keeping school going.
There's a lot going on.
So I was looking at the cover art of Beyond, so it's got these 3 trees. I'm assuming they represent each of you guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
they actually do.
All right, so which is which?
Can you guess?
Fire,
Uh-huh.
Correct.
Frozen,
Mm-mm.
Frozen,
Yeah.
and I don't even know what the other one is.
It's just a regular screen tree.
All right, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
No,
Why?
I
Why?
Well,
start. I don't know.
yeah, that's a good question. I'm the fire tree. Because in our performances and when we're playing our music, I like to think of myself as kind of like the light to shine on both the audience and them.
Yeah.
It's that smile.
It's that smile. Yeah.
It never goes away.
It
Never
is.
goes away, but it's like if I'm smiling, if they're having a good time, I'm
Yeah.
having a good time.
Mhm.
And then the audience sees that, and that just adds to the whole performance. They're like, yeah, they're loving what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
This is awesome. So I'm kind of the fire, because I'm like, I like shedding light on everybody.
Yeah.
He
And,
really is.
I
He's the
think-
spark. And he'll come, and sometimes we'll just be kind of like, God, I'm tired today, like whatever. And Christian comes and he's like, let's go. Come on, we're going to do this.
I think in general, Christian's just a passion-driven person,
Mhm.
and the fire speaks to that.
Incredibly.
Okay.
Yes.
How about you, Patrick? Why are you the Frozen?
Why am I the
Were you a
Frozen?
fan of the movie?
You know,
He loves Frozen.
yes, I
He wants to be
aspire
Elsa.
to be Queen Elsa. No,
You got the hair.
I was thinking about this.
Let it go.
I don't know. At first glance, I'm kind of like I don't show my cards.
Right.
So I'm a little hard on the outside.
Right.
Pretty serious guy overall. Not that like any of this is like a bad thing or anything.
Right,
But
it's
that's
just your
that's my
personality.
personality,
Yeah, yeah.
and it fits me, and it also contrasts the fire tree really well and looks cool. So.
Peyton, how about you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm the green tree in the middle, and I've always kind of seen myself as like the balance between the two extremes, and I kind of sit in the middle.
Right.
You know, I see myself on both sides. I like to get excited, and I'm very passionate and everything, but you know, I'm also, I can be reserved, and you know, I'm a Libra, so I've always liked the idea of balance, and you know, I think with 3 people in the band, it's important to have a little bit of that
Sure.
to
Absolutely.
balance out the two extremes. And
You know, I think it's just a Cygnus reference. we got Apollo, Dionysus, and Cygnus X1.
There you go.
there we go, baby.
Got to bring it back to Rush, don't
Yeah,
you?
Yep, it all goes back to that.
All right, so you guys brought a couple tracks with you. Sweet
Mhm.
Separation. Can you guys tell me about that tune, how it came about?
Yeah, so I had a riff in my phone.
Yeah.
And it was way too distorted. And I was like, oh, but this riff is so sick. And we
Yeah.
recorded it on Closer Than You Think. And then I went back to mix it, and I'm like, wow, it's still too distorted. I should stop using so much distortion on these riffs. And we backed it down. That was sort of the first song we started writing for the new EP.
Right.
And it really started this shift in sound to the more 70s style rock.
Mm-hmm.
That's that seems to be the go-to device for everybody today. Just having it on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super
Oh,
convenient.
voice memos.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do it myself. I know a whole bunch of other people. And then last month I had on Royal City Leaf, the rapper, and he was just talking about how like he's got all the stuff on his phone that he's just saved over time. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah. Notes and voice memos on the iPhone. If you go through mine, I got probably 500 notes on it. It's crazy, but it's cool because you can be anywhere.
Yeah.
And something strikes you, and you can write it down. You don't always have a pen and paper there.
Right. Absolutely.
And I mean, Lord knows I can't remember. It
Yeah.
for more than if 2 minutes it's gone, but. It's nice to be able to have that, and I had Sweet Separation, the words tucked away in one of those notes in my iPhone since July.
Actually, shoot, I remember this. So me and Christian
Tell the story of
yeah,
the-
we were going home from practice one day.
Oh,
Actually, no,
yes.
we were going to freaking
Harris Teeter to get some pizza.
Yeah, 'cause they
It's
had-
always Harris Teeter.
they had a pizza deal on Mondays or
Yeah.
something. And anyways, we're just listening to this demo that I had fleshed out on the way to Harris Teeter for pizza. And and I was like, man, this sounds like Aerosmithy, like sassy and just
Right.
a Steven Tyler kind of, I don't know. So I had this line, I'm heading south because you left me cold. I was like, yeah, that's got this
That's-
spunk to it or something.
Yeah.
So I started with that, and I wrote a first verse, and then we were like, okay, well, this is the vibe of the song. And then we came together and started working on the rest of it.
Yeah, he came in with that one line, and we're like, oh, that's sassy. And we all sat down, and just it kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. it
And
was
then
kinda
Peyton
cool.
got the hook Sweet Separation, and then we had to figure out how many words we could rhyme with separation.
I remember like we all had our laptops, and I was on I don't know, rhyming dictionary or something. I was just I was thinking about all the
the
words.
shuns.
Separation, yeah. All the shuns, and I just had a whole long list of like 20 of them. They were like, okay, which ones can we turn into catchy
lines,
lines in
yeah.
the chorus? And that was actually pretty fun. And
Yeah,
that's just how it
after
came
we got
about.
the hook, the rest of the song just like
Just fell
fell
right into
out.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, can we take a listen to it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. This is Sweet Separation off Beyond by Irrational.
I'm heading south, 'cause you left me cold. You said that what we had was getting old. Now I'm leaving town, 'cause baby you were right. Let me tell you, honey, my bags were packed last night. Listen up, babe, I ain't never going back. Oh no, I ain't going back. No hesitation. Don't try to save me. You were never my salvation. I'm moving on to new destinations. I'm in love with this sweet separation. I gave you all my love every night and day, but baby, you did me wrong more than I can say. Oh, I could get on my knees.
Awesome track, guys. Awesome track.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about another tune that you guys brought, Song of the Sky.
Yeah.
Is this your most popular tune when you guys play it live? Because I love this tune.
It's our
Oh, thank
favorite
you.
to
This one's
play.
my
it's
favorite,
it's my
yeah.
favorite, but
It's so
I don't know.
It's as I said earlier, it's so triumphy, like, but it's not like overtly triumphy, you know.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of spunk, and it's got this I don't know what Rush Xanadu-ish kind of feel,
Yeah, a little
but
bit.
with a kind of triumph thrown in. Can you guys fill me
Love
in about
it.
this track?
Love it.
All right, so it all started with
Christian jumped right in.
When I was
Like,
4 years
when I
old.
was 4.
Yeah.
I woke up one day and wrote the song. No, it was one day. It was a Sunday afternoon. I just got out of church, and I just had this drum part just stuck in my, I could not focus during church. And so I got home and I hopped on the drums and I just set up my phone on a music stand, and I just wanted some track that would just build really well. That's the thing that I really love about Song of the Sky is the entire song. It opens up with a build, but the entire song is just one giant build.
Okay.
Yes.
And so I recorded a really, really low quality video on my phone. It was very distorted, sent it to Patrick, and he was like, dude, I love it. And in the next week he sent back a riff, and I was like, that's it. That's gonna be cool.
I was sitting with that drum beat for a while, and I wanted something that would actually complement the whole style of it, and that build up at the beginning of the song was sort of what I was like, okay, well, this needs to be like the intro,
right?
And this is sick. So I think it was about a week before I got the first riff, and then over the next week I pulled the audio into Logic and really started fleshing out an arrangement. And I thought it was done, and then the next week I was like, it's not epic enough. So I worked on that middle section with the guitar solo and trying to figure out any way we can make the ending a little bigger.
Right.
And then we
Yeah.
had the full demo, and
Yeah, we got to
Had
add
to
a
figure out what it was
bass line. That was
about.
fun. And then the lyrics just came, and we were really inspired on that song by that was really our nature song.
yeah,
We were spending a lot of time outside. It was in the fall. I think we wrote the lyrics, and it was just gorgeous
we
outside.
literally
and,
just walked out into the woods with a couple notebooks.
and we were just we just looked up, and we just had, our notebook was just filled with
Imagery.
stars, mountains, hills, sky, clouds, and it all just started there, and just observing the surroundings.
great.
I know that sounds kind of basic, but it really was. It was just, wow, the world is beautiful, and let's
Right.
write about
Yeah.
it, and let's write about, and I love that song too, because to me it has a deeper meaning. I love the chorus, and it's all about, being true to yourself and your dream and the path that you want to follow in life. And I almost feel like it's representational of the album artwork, or the artwork's
No, it
representational
is.
of that song.
The artwork is definitely based on that.
It's like the person, and you have these three paths that you can go down. And you're at that crossroads where you're trying to make that decision. And it was kind of, honestly, we wrote it in our senior year of high school when we were all applying to college and thinking about taking that next step in our lives. And you can't help but feel a little lost sometimes
Sure.
during all that. And you don't really know exactly where you want to go, what you want to do. And so those lyrics speak to that idea. And I love singing that song because it means a lot to me.
I love the track. I've actually listened to it several times, and I'm like, wow, I'd love to see you guys play it live.
Thank
I've
you.
got to, unfortunately, like I told you earlier, I haven't had a chance to come see you guys play because I'm playing. That's kind of one of my
We
things.
get
for
it.
doing
It's the
this
life
podcast,
of a
you
musician. Get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I mean, I get out. It's kind of selfish at times. Like I do the podcast, and I'm like, I want to get out to see people, but I'm playing. So, bring them over and let's talk about what
Yeah.
they're doing, so that
Yeah.
I can meet more people.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
well, hey, let's check it out. Let's listen to "Song of the Sky."
As I wander through the valley, clouds of
Still one of my favorite tracks. I love that one, guys. All right, so what do you guys have coming up? So Irrationals, you got the new CD coming that's out now. People come see you. Where can we check you out? What do you have coming up in April?
So we don't have any shows in April,
Okay.
Sadly, but we'll be back June 6th at Trail House. We'll be playing from 9:30 to 12:30.
Okay.
So check that out. That'll be a full Irrational show. And then coming up on July 3rd, we will be headlining the YMCA 4th of July Festival. And where's that?
It's out in Mooresville.
Mooresville.
at the
Just
YMCA.
On the huge field. Just come out, bring a
It's
blanket.
awesome. There's fireworks. It's a festival. Food trucks. It's awesome.
All right, so that also, where do we find out about Irrational? You guys on Facebook,
Yeah.
you on
Yes.
Instagram, let me know. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Irrational Band. Irrational. It's IRRASHIONAL.
Got to know how to spell it.
we couldn't get rid of that rash.
We're better now that we're in college, but in high school, we weren't that good at spelling. So, no.
And we have a website, irrationalband.com.
Yes.
And go check out our music. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora,
YouTube, Amazon.
Everywhere.
Most streaming services. I'd be surprised if you couldn't find it.
And you guys got some great videos up on YouTube, too, of some live
Yeah, we have a few up there. Yeah. So go check out the YouTube.
Go
give
check
us a
out the
like.
new
Yeah.
promotional video.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
On the way.
And if we want to book you guys, somebody's looking to book Irrational, how do we get in touch with you to book you?
Facebook Messenger is probably the most responsive place to
Okay.
reach out to us.
You can email us.
Mm-hmm.
You can find our email address on our social media sites. It's info@irrationalband.com. You can email us or message us.
Okay. Fantastic. Hey, guys, well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm so happy I've gotten a chance to meet you guys. And as soon as next show comes up, I've already marked my calendar for June to get out to see you guys.
Yay. Thank you so
Alright,
much for
thank
having
you.
us. This
Yeah,
has been
it's
such
been
a
a blast.
blast.
All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. And that will bring episode 31 of the Queen City Music Podcast to a close. If you have an idea for the podcast or would like to be a guest on the QCMP, reach out to me at qcmusicpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please check out our partners, New Sound at newsoundonline.com and Records on the Wall at rexonthewall.com. Until next month, get out there and support your local music scene by going to hear some of the talented musicians that call Charlotte home. Bye.